What we are really saved from, according to Romans chapter 5 verse 9, is the wrath of God. The wrath, more of the wrath of God than the affliction of the devil. Romans chapter 1 verse 17 tells us that the righteousness of God is revealed in the gospel. And that is why whenever the gospel is preached, we talk about the righteousness of God, the goodness of God, the mercies of God. But in verse 18, it tells us that the wrath of God is revealed from heaven upon mankind. That means that everyone who doesn't obey the will of God, no matter who you are, no matter your level, no matter your position, no matter your class, just as rain falls and the sun shines on the just and the unjust, just as rain falls and the sun shines on everyone, be it a president, a governor, a king, a leader, or a spiritual leader, or even the lowest of the low people, the rain or the sun also shines on everyone. That's how the wrath of God is available to everyone who disobeys the laws of God. Now, we mistake the wrath of God for some thunder and lightning that strikes here and there and some arrows that hit. No. Romans chapter 1 from verse 24 to the end vividly describes the wrath of God. And it's very simple. The wrath of God is when God leaves you to live in sin and you're enjoying yourself. In fact, you could even be prospering in that sin. Psalm chapter 92 verse 7 tells us that when the ungodly prosper is that they may be destroyed forever. The wrath of God is leaving you to continue your iniquity. When God is not making efforts to stop you from sinning again, the person is already living in the wrath of God. You may be going to church, you may not be going to church, it doesn't matter. If you are comfortable in your iniquity, lust has taken over your life, you are pursuing fame, money, sinful pleasures, that is the wrath of God. When you are honoring men, you don't even look at God anymore. You are honoring men. You are either honoring idols or honoring men in all forms. When even the best of us would say they even want to do good, they begin to honor spiritual men rather than the spiritual God. That is the wrath of God. And that's why God says they honor the creature more than the creator. And it escalates. We begin to go into fetish practices in order to get what we want. We begin to escalate our desires and we begin to invent new ways to achieve our desires and express our desires. We begin to go wild in the kind of things that we desire. We begin to go wild in the expression of iniquity. We begin to go wild in the acceptance of iniquity. What seems to be used to be a taboo now becomes so acceptable that even if others are not walking in that path, they start to look like aliens. That is the wrath of God in manifest. We begin to go into fetish practices in order to sleep with men, sleep with women, steal women. That is the wrath of God. We begin to escalate sexual desires to twosomes, to threesomes, to sleeping with the same sex, to sleeping with animals. That is the wrath of God. We cannot even be members of a certain society or have some certain connections without engaging in these actions. That is the wrath of God. And finally, we begin to celebrate everything that is evil. Anyone that is good is seen as bad, and anyone that is bad is celebrated. We begin to honor the thief, we begin to honor the sexually immoral, we begin to honor the killers more than the righteous. Even in our programs, we begin to give hundreds of millions to those who are committing all sorts of sinful acts as prizes of shows and events, and we begin to give little and mega things to people that win scholarships and do good in the society. Everything turns upside down, and with that, man begins to judge himself. Man begins to afflict himself. Men begin to kill men for money. Men begin to kill men for position. Women begin to kill men for money. Men begin to kill women for ritual. Women begin to go out with men in order to be rich, and they kill the man in the process. Men begin to go out with women with sinister motives, they kill them in the process. Men begin to develop all sorts of unexplainable diseases, all sorts of strange deaths, all sorts of wars begin to break out. So we begin to judge ourselves, and eventually hellfire. Please run away from the wrath of God.
Jesus,